Welcome back to the RIT IGM Student Showcase. I'm Nick. I've never met any of you before. Please introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about yourselves. Nick,
Hi.
nice to meet you.
Alexa.
Alexa.
I'm a fifth-year BS/MS student here at RIT, working on Quack Attack.
Oh, nice.
I'm Marcelo. I'm a third-year game design and development student, and I'm also working here at Quack Attack.
Welcome.
Hi folks, I'm Troy. I'm a final year undergraduate, game design and development major at RIT. Sorry, stage fright, it's fine. I'm fine.
It's all good.
I promise.
We're here, and we're happy to have you guys here. Thanks for showcasing your game, Quack Attack.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you guys to tell me a little bit about it, but I'll also invite, maybe you can hit play and our audience members on the live stream can kind of see some stuff on the screen as you describe some of the gameplay.
Of course.
So, can I just start talking?
Yeah, go for it. Very casually.
Yeah, but so basically the main premise of the story is you're the main protagonist, Dewey. You're a rubber ducky that works as a programmer's assistant.
Oh my
and
gosh.
it's National Rubber Ducky Day, which is an actual holiday. But you're forced to work, and you're just working there. But one moment you just see like this awful line of code being written, and you're like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm tired, and just leave.
Yeah.
And you meet up with other rubber duckies who are leading this revolution, and they like upgrade you with like water powers and these long legs to give you more agility. And you decide to overthrow the government to make National Rubber Ducky Day a federal holiday. And this idea we had first because this is our game. We me and other people worked Megan, Michael, and Kevin, which they're not here right now. We worked on that for Game Design and Development 2, another class, and we brought this to production studio and kept working on it. So and then Alexa and Troy joined us. So the main premise is very simple. It's a platforming game. It's a very fast-paced game. We try to make a game where speedrunning is like a possibility because we want to try and get to the end of the level as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And you can jump, dash, wall jump. You can shoot. They're gonna be enemies, and you just have to go as fast as you can to the end of the level. And,
Yeah.
And right now we only have around 5 levels, and we plan to add bosses at the end of each level. And a little bit of spoilers there with the overarching story. As you go through the game, the main villain would be the president. This is you're gonna try to overthrow the government, and the president is a turkey.
Oh my god.
Because it's a turkey that wants I want to make Thanksgiving the only bird-related holiday. And
Can't have that.
Cannot have. Yeah, exactly. And so he hires a lot of other birds that have their own motives to stay in your way. So each one of the bosses will be a different bird.
Well, it sounds like you guys have a lot of cool mechanics interrelated with the narrative. The art aesthetic is there. The technology looks like it's there. It looks very well polished. You also talked about the team and the timeline. You started off with this game as a student project in Game Design and Development 2.
Yes.
You continued to work a little bit further in another class called Production Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just tell us a little bit about your team? Because you also said you had a couple members that aren't here. How you guys formed and what it was like to bring a project from class to class and then further on. Because I don't know if a lot of students have that opportunity that often, and if you could inform some of our student viewers about that process, they might be aware of it a little more, and then they can kind of plan their future with that knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so how our team formed is that in Game Design and Development 2, we had it with Eric Baker, and he made this forums to try to make the teams more balanced because we didn't choose our teams. But so you could put your strengths and weaknesses, so they try to make a balanced group. And the initial team was me, Megan, Michael, Kevin, and Darvin. And we kept working on the game the entire semester, and then we had something, and then Mash saw our game, and she was like, "Oh, you want to take it to production studio?" And we're like, "Sure." But some of our members, so Megan and Kevin, they had schedule issues, so they couldn't take production studio. and Michael graduated.
Yeah.
So like he couldn't keep working on the class since he's not here. But me and Darvin, we like had time for registration, so we're both like still taking the class, and we still needed like since we need more people to join the group for the class. So we needed like some more art people, more UI UX people. So like Alex and Joy showed interest in joining, just joined us. And you want to talk a little bit more like about the process too?
Yeah, so I think for me, I joined the team this semester. So there was a lot of things I had to get used to in terms of onboarding, right, with like the systems that we had in place and stuff like that. So I think it was a really fun experience, and it still is a fun experience, not was. Choice of words. Because it's not often that you get to join a game that's in progress for a class, and you'll find that if you're taking production studio classes, because more often than not, teams that are in these classes need 1 or 2 or 3 folks to kind of fill in roles, right? So it was a really good experience for me because it allows you to kind of get used to the process that another team has. How do you onboard with said team, right? And also just it's cool to be able to be part of a project that's been started and provide value to the team from like the first week or so. It's cool. Since the teams are so small, you begin to, find that your work is important from the first day you join the team. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting perspective because I know the way that classes are structured, right? There's only 15 weeks or so like you kind of have an idea, you bring it to fruition, you make it. But you don't often get the opportunity to jump into a project halfway through. And I know that definitely is something that people would have to deal with out in industry, right? Because maybe there's a game that's being developed for a year and a half. They decide that, you know what, we really need an extra programmer on the team, or we need an extra artist. And they'll put out, we're now hiring a flyer, and you see that on a telephone pole when you're walking down the street, and you're like, I should call this number. And then you interview, you get hired, and you're brought onto a team, and you quickly need to get up to speed, right? You're looking through the code, and you realize that this person never left any comments. What is going on over here? I don't understand what this function is. Why they named their variable X.
No, that's fair.
So I definitely think that now that you saw yourself on the other side of that coin, right? You can put yourself in a much better spot when you're working on a team, right? Am I writing down enough notes for somebody else that needs to come in and pick this up? Is the process good? All that stuff. And it probably gave you some pretty good insight.
Yeah, I'd say it's really good experience. And especially if you're not used to, picking up where someone left off, it's a really good experience because it lets you get used to reading other people's code that were written before you got there, and they might not necessarily be there to answer questions that you might have. And then, like as you mentioned, the offboarding part of it as well, right? How do I write code that's well documented, that's scalable, keeping in mind the future of the game, right? Whoever comes to pick the project up next will probably have to go through the same process that I did. How can I make it as seamless as possible?
Yeah. Well, the game looks very well polished at the moment, and I do have a couple other follow-up questions for the team. But before I do, I just want to remind our users in chat that if you have any specific questions about the game or for the team and you want to ask, please post in chat, and we'll fling those questions over to you guys, and hopefully you can answer them. Hot seat. But yeah, let's start it back off, and I'd like to ask this of everybody. What was your favorite part of working on this game? What are you most proud of? Is there something special attached to it that you really find, this is the coolest thing ever?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit. One of the things I really love is that we had the idea of, National Rubber Ducky Day, want it to be a holiday, this idea that there's another bird holiday, that's the only one, there needs to be another one.
Yeah.
So we were like, you know what? We're going to overthrow the government with this. Let's make a mood board of all different government buildings, and that kind of inspired all the artwork which I worked on. So everything, you can see there's like paintings, which are based on actual real-life government official paintings.
Oh.
All the color palettes and the backgrounds and the columns are actually pinpoint selected from different photos and stuff like that of actual government offices and stuff and all that kind of stuff. So we really spend a lot of time making sure it felt like a government building with that old-fashioned, warm-toned feel.
Yeah.
And having the duck, be kind of stand out with more cooler tones, even with its all the colors you can pick, all the hats you can pick. Kind of like the cold versus hot sort of color palettes.
Yeah.
There's also some animated asset tiles too that aren't distracting. So you can see on the desk there's a little pendulum. There's the little movement of the plants. They're supposed to not be distracting, but if you take your time instead of speed running, which is an option, it's either you speed run or you decide to read the story and understand that story. Marcella did an amazing job writing all the dialogue for it. It really comes together into whoever wants to play it, how they want to play it.
Yeah. Speaking on the art, I definitely appreciate it. It's visually engaging and it's pretty to look at. And I like, just kind of like how you mentioned as well, the contrast between the, interactable objects and what else is also there on screen, right? For me personally, and it's just my opinion, right? But I feel like I can identify what is, gameplay elements and what I can do and how I can do it, and the information is simple and minimalistic enough that I can get that and process it in my very slow, tiny brain. But at the same time, right, there is a lot of prettiness there as well. And I feel like sometimes a lot of games can get so intense on the art and they get so detailed that it's just too much for me personally to process. And I feel like your team has found a very good balance between the detail and the essential important elements of what needs to be communicated in a game.
I mean, one of the things we really focused on too, we had some really great backbone coming into this project from the other team. They worked a lot on mechanics, a lot on movement. The little tweaks we had to do. For example, we wanted the hats to be more squishy, make it feel more like a rubber ducky. The character swishes down more when it hits lava. The little particle effects that come out in certain directions now. All these different things, and then tying the art and story together really brought all those mechanics together. This level is actually one of the older tile sets that we came in with, so showing a little bit of a difference from the first 3 zones of our tutorial. We haven't had time, but by the time Imagine RIT comes, we should have this in the next level completely fleshed out with new tile sets, but each one we wanted to have its own tile set. So the first one uses the base, the second one has a little scanner, has the elevator, has a little secret room. So we're
secrets!
We got
little secret room. Yeah. And later on, if we were to continue working on this, and we very much so hope so, those secret rooms will have more unlockables like hats and colors, maybe scarves, all these different things to customize your duck. Make it feel more personal.
Same question.
Yeah. So as Alexa mentioned, I really loved working on the dialogue and the narrative itself because we had Michael from last semester work on the narrative, which was a very strong base for what we have right now. And since Michael's not here, I took on that mantle of working on the narrative, and it was really fun to do it because just coming up with characters for a game. So as you can see in the dialogue, we're gonna have more personality with it, add some little small images of the characters. We have the main character Dewey, and we also have 2 characters who are Professor Quacksmore, which is a scientist that helps you, and General Von Mallard, which is this military general. And they both will help you on your journeys, with this dialogue that was very inspired by games like Splatoon, the story mode where you have the 2 agents helping you. And this was one of my favorite parts to work on, just like implementing the dialogue, working on more of the narrative, coming up with the boss ideas. So as I mentioned before, the boss will be birds, and the first boss I'm planning on being a pigeon, since it's or like a very common bird, especially for big cities.
Yeah.
So I want to like start with more common birds and go towards more exotic birds towards the end. But the turkey will be the big bad guy.
Better watch out.
Yeah.
Oh, is it my turn to answer?
Yeah.
The question. Your turn. Play. You just got it.
Thank you.
Oh no.
So I think for me, one of my most favorite things that I worked on was the way the levels are structured. Coming in at the start of the semester, we had a tutorial level that tried to do a little too much. We tried to teach the player all of the different things that you could do with the controls, and that ended up being too overwhelming. So one of our priorities for this semester was really to peel back how our level design philosophy. So what we ended up doing was creating a set of 5 levels. Each level teaches the player a specific control, and then in the final and 5th level, which is the one that we have on the screen right now, you basically put everything together, and you're left on your own. And we found that, it's been challenging to create levels that feel intuitive and not too challenging, so that we don't scare away people who are new to our game.
Yeah.
So it's been a really interesting experience, not just from a level design perspective, but also just understanding how players interpret the worlds that you build. How can I make it obvious, that this is what you have to do? How can I set the level geometry up so that it showcases the controls that we have best, right? So it's been fun.
That's awesome. Glad that you are having fun, all of you. It sounds like you're all very proud of the project, and I think that shows, right? It looks super fun. It looks visually engaging. It looks like I love the particle effects that happen on the screen sometimes, right? Like everything seems to be coming together very well. Just because I feel like I need to check, is there anything from our Twitch chat stream that I should be passing along to the squad?
Do you want to go? I wanted to show his off this too. We are working on the wardrobe here.
The wardrobe's
So,
Yes. Oh my god.
as you can see, normally when you're not playing it, it starts off as a regular dewy color.
Yes.
You have a couple of options of red, blue, and green. And we also have some really fun hats. We have like a fedora, a top hat, a witch hat, and obviously everybody's favorite, the transparent hat, which obviously isn't transparent. It is extremely big in the game. But they are really interactive when you play the game. So if I play the first level, they follow the character, they bounce. When the character dies, they squish with you.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, they didn't fix that.
Flip, no. You didn't see that.
I think I know personally which one is my favorite, but does everyone have a favorite hat that they love to play when they're running around as a little rubber ducky?
I like the fedora. I just think
Yeah.
it's really cute, especially when it tips down.
It does tip
when you
down.
When you land,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
tips
yeah.
down. like the the little joke that everybody does online. You tilt the hat, it squishes down with you. When you die, it's just really cute too. Like it all squishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go with the transparent hat because it's just like, it's just
Silly.
like just such a stupid joke, and just I just love it.
Gotta have to throw that little bit of comedy in there.
Yeah,
Of course. Yeah, we have all these like pretty lighting we try to keep it a little bit moody. So we have all these spotlights and the little, obviously the overhead bright lights to highlight everything. Yeah. We're obviously hoping to add a little bit more decor to each level. We wanted to, at minimum, feel like government. This is like security checkpoint.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Ooh, you should reach the point where that's
The scanning thing?
the scanning thing, yeah.
This thing?
That's my favorite part.
Oh. You know, I had to get on an airplane to get here yesterday, and that reminded me of all the troubles I had going through security.
Did you have a duck in your suitcase? Is that why?
You know what? Maybe there was a duck.
Yeah.
The secret one that you have to find by
Yeah, and
playing
then
the
up
level.
here, this is where we would have these unlockables that we're focusing on later. So
Yeah.
at the top here, you have this broken elevator where you have the floor that breaks down, but you also have on the top right of the elevator another broken area where if you jump in there,
Whoa, secret!
there's a whole other secret where we're hoping you can have another unlockable hat here or an item that you can meet. We've been tossing ideas outside about other holidays. Maybe you meet other characters from other holidays. There's so many like avenues we can go down
Yeah.
with this, narrative wise. And when you fall down here, this is a really cool area where you learn how to wall jump safely. You'll see this a lot where you jump from wall to wall. And normally there's lava underneath it. And normally when you go through the little hole, you get all frustrated. But here it's the safe one.
Yeah, learn the mechanic in a safe space first,
See,
then
yeah.
slowly and add a little more challenge. We know that because you've got to this point already, right? You've mastered the wall jumping and you've seen lava before.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
we're gonna throw them together and say, "You're qualified to do all this."
You got it now.
That's the main thing we really been working on, like onboarding properly, because we came in, it wasn't properly onboarded. It was too hard that first level, so onboarding was our big thing this time, and hopefully wherever we continue to go, whether that be in the Magic Maker program or
Yeah.
personally by ourselves over the summer, that we can continue to make the game awesome. But we're also on Itch if you want to play.
Check us
Love
out.
your feedback.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting the flag from Ben that I think that our time with you is almost up, which is a sad thing. But before I say thank you for coming and showcasing the game, do you have any parting words of wisdom for your other peers watching the stream right now live? Lessons learned, things that maybe advice you want to give, etc., etc.?
I think playtesting is extremely important. A lot of our changes and feedback came from people who said, "Oh, this is too hard. Oh, I would really appreciate having a break here so I can actually take a breath and think about my next move." All these different things, playtest is extremely important.
Playtesting, important.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. Like playtesting is what helped us a lot with just polishing everything. Get other people to playtest. Take it to other places. Playtesting with the same people every time. Sometimes they start to get biased. So it's always nice to get fresh people to just try your game because they are coming blindly and they don't know what they're expecting. So it's always nice to get that.
I think my feedback, I was gonna say playtesting, but I don't want to be boring. I'm just kidding. No, I think my feedback then would probably be these projects that you work on, if you happen to work on a team, communicate well, right? Never neglect the importance of your process when you work as a team, because that process facilitates how you approach your work, how you communicate with your team. Always strive to be better at communicating because there's always room for improvement, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and I think
That's
a
what
lot
I'd
of the teams were saying those pieces of advice too. Communication, feedback, iteration, all very important. So if you're noticing a trend out there in Twitch land, these are people who have been through the rodeo, so to speak, and they have that experience. So take that words of wisdom and go forward and make the fun games. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming in today. The game looks fun. Hopefully, I will get a chance to walk out to the Expo floor sometime soon, and I look forward to playing your game out there as well.
Awesome.
And again, if you want to play, the game is available, you said,
On Itch.
Itch. So download it, leave a comment, double thumbs up.
Quack Attack.
And if you're online, get in the car, drive over here, and go play it on the Expo
We got
floor.
stickers. With all
they got
the
We do
stickers.
have stickers.
Yeah.
Must
Come
be
and get your
present to
sticker.
get a sticker.
Of course.
Come in and play.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks for having us.